When you hear the words Death Cafe, you might have a lot of questions. We did too.
Yeah.
First, we know talking about death can be difficult and overwhelming, but studies show it's becoming less of a taboo.
Yeah, according to a USA Today poll, 91% of Americans believe talking about death and dying is normal. But here's the thing, 27% say they're uncomfortable actually doing that, while 31% say they're uncomfortable just thinking about their own mortality.
It's a lot to take in.
It
For
is.
those who are ready to talk, there are places to start the conversation over tea and cake, of all things. From Martha's Vineyard to Millvale, informal meetings called Death Cafes are taking off across the country. The goal is not to have a morbid conversation, but to find ways to make the most out of life. Joining us now, we have Roman Palladio, chief reporter at Next Pittsburgh, and Helen Stickney, death doula and co-founder of Pittsburgh Community Death Care. So happy to have you both here to talk about this. And Helen, I want to start with you first. What is a death cafe for people who are just hearing about this like us?
So death cafes are pretty much an open forum gathering for people to come and talk about death, because as you were just saying with those statistics, people aren't talking about it. They're talking about it more, but it's still really taboo. And so this is just a safe place to come and gather and talk about death.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and I know a lot of times acceptance is hard, but, it's the old saying, death and taxes, it's the things that are guaranteed.
Yeah.
So, are you seeing, when people find you guys, what are you seeing, and how's the growth? Are more people coming in? And
oh my goodness, it's taking off again. It's in 2015, some friends of mine and I people started let me try again. So in 2010, death cafes were started in England, actually, and they took off everywhere.
Right.
And the first death cafe in Pittsburgh was 2015, and people started coming together, and there were tons of them. It was so busy. So many people were having them. They were filled with people, and then the pandemic hit.
Right.
And they're just starting to have a resurgence now.
And Roman, how did Next Pittsburgh hear about this? Why did you want to jump on this story?
Yeah, well, I'm always looking for weird and interesting things happening in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And, when I found it on Instagram, actually, of all places, the Millvale Library's Instagram, and I kind of fell to, Helen and I, when we spoke, we're talking about kind of the marketing, like, hearing Death Cafe, you're immediately like,
what is happening here? Right. Is there murder? Like, what's happening?
Can they come back for second coffee?
So I fell into that, and it was really interesting to learn more.
What can people expect
Yeah.
when they, Helen, when they show up?
It's fun. We usually start out just getting to know each other, and there's usually treats, there's usually tea and cake, and it's just a place for people to talk about what they haven't got a chance to talk about. So it's actually, there's a little bit of excitement there, where people are really hungry to, ask that weird question that they've always wanted to know, or talk about this cool thing that they heard about some tradition in Ghana. I think they have really interesting coffin shapes, right? And that sort of thing. So it can be, but it can also be talking about, my uncle just died and I'm still having some feelings. So sometimes it's tender, but most of the time people are saying all those weird things they wanted to say.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, are these conversations about mortality? Are there questions and conversations about the afterlife? Like, is it all of that?
It's all of that, because with a Death Cafe, there is no set agenda. So what we talk about depends on who shows up.
Right.
So I've had people come who are psychic mediums. I've had people come who are atheists. I've had people show up who wanted to know about, people want to talk about whether they believe in ghosts or the afterlife,
So I'm so interested in this. Is it big groups, or do you kind of break out into small groups? And you said it's kind of fluid.
Right, so the Millvale Library has a small space, so we're doing small groups right now, but some of the bigger spaces that I've been at, 100 people will show up, and we'll break them into groups of 10. We break people into groups where they can have a meaningful conversation.
Wow, okay.
And Roman, what was the most surprising thing that you learned from going to this?
Well, it was really fun. The Pittsburghers that I spoke to who were here, they were just interested in, like running their ideas past people, almost like a therapist, just having someone to talk to about
So important,
how they communicate about mortality with their kids or with their doctor, and how they're planning for their eventual deaths. But it was just very candid and curious.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Curious is a way to live, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
it really is, to be a little
definitely
bit more open-minded, and it sounds like that's what's happening here.
And that curiosity is opening space for people to have more capacity to navigate the end of life when it comes up.
Interesting.
right.
So cool. You can read the full article and learn about future meetings in Millvale on our website. Go to kdka.com/talkpittsburgh. We will link you up to both.
I love that picture right there. It's a cake. And it has Death Cafe right there. I'm like, I don't know what to think.
There's cake.
Yeah, still to come on this show. KDK's Barry Pintar is standing by in the newsroom with the stories you won't want to miss tonight on the KDK Evening News.